Check, check. Check one, check two.
We're live. Welcome to the We Are One podcast. I'm Ken. This is MJ, aka Victor Bang.
It's good.
We're going to talk about what is entropy, discuss a little bit about what that might be, what it looks like. I know Tom Campbell just mentioned it in the interview with Chad from Open Your Reality. This is January the 22nd, and this is just a brief discussion on what entropy means to us. And we're going to try to get to some conclusions here. So again, welcome. MJ, Victor Bang.
Yes, sir.
Entropy. We just briefly discussed what Tom Campbell said about lowering your entropy is lowering the confusion, lowering the what's the word I'm looking for?
Yeah, the order.
Lowering the order. Yes. So can you elaborate what that means to you?
Yeah. So I just looked up the definition. Just Googled it, and the first one is a physics definition, which kind of gets into mechanical work, blah blah blah. I think the second one is probably more applicable to our conversation: lack of order or predictability, gradual decline into disorder. So entropy is just when you lower your entropy, you're bringing more order to a system. And we were talking about entropy as far as thoughts. Imagine a whole bunch of random thoughts, and you're lowering your entropy like a monk would to try to calm his thoughts or her thoughts and get them more gradual, more organized, pretty much. So it's just think of a system that's inorganized becoming more organized. So
you're making your thoughts more organized. Is that making your life more organized? Like to me, that means being more predictable in your decisions, in the external environment impacting what you are dealing with. Like how does that make it? How does that make your thoughts and emotions change? If you are predictable, then to me that means you don't have those things from the outside and the external forces dictating your free will. Would that be correct to you, or how do you see that?
Yeah, I think you want to be more predictable. So, like for instance, the definition says lack of order or predictability. So if you're talking about conscious creation and input output, then you want your output to be more predictable. So you want your input to be more predictable. So you don't want just random stuff, random creation. You want to focus it to where you do X and you get Y. So you want it to be predictable so that you can think of the outcome and give whatever input you need to get whatever you're trying to get out of it. So I don't think predictability is something that you actually want.
Yeah, I don't think predictability is something that I want. I think predictability is the friend of Jason Brashears calls it the AIX, the simulacrum. People call it the archons, whatever is governing us, the deep state, the cabal, however you want to phrase what you feel is running this world. I think that you have to break free of that. And the way to break free of that is not to lower your entropy, or maybe I'm misunderstanding how entropy is being used, but you want to break free of your patterns so that the system kind of lets you go. And that's the way that I've felt that manifestation works. When you are predictable, you're up at 9 a.m. every morning, you're taking a shower. Of course, it's warm because you got to be comfortable. Then you put on your clothes, you drive to work, you're there by 9:30, you drive home at 4:30, all these things that you do, you eat the same meals. You don't change your organized behavior. That is the simulacrum. That is the archons. That is the predictability of your life. That is your ego. And that is what the ego is doing, running your life. To break free from that, to manifest your desires and your wants, you have to be a creator. That means breaking free of programs. That means exercising your free will. And to me, that means, I guess in this situation, raising my entropy, which is my disorganization of my pattern.
I see what you're saying, but from so a couple ways you can look at it. So from an individual standpoint, use a sports analogy. Steph Curry, he wants the outcome of his shots to be predictable, to go inside of the goal. So he's going to lower his entropy on the variation of his shot and his form to get that predictable outcome. He wants each shot to go in. So he's trying to lower his entropy on the mechanics of his shot so that each of them is predictable. I shoot from here and it goes this distance and goes
The result
there.
is predictable.
Hmm?
The result will be predictable.
Right. So
right, but 10 years ago when Steph Curry hadn't won a damn thing, Steph Curry's like, well, I want to be predictable, but Steph, you ain't won a championship yet. So I understand that that's predictable in that goal being set, but to do something that you've never done before will cause you to do something that you've never done before. That's the way you have to break patterns. Otherwise, you're going to get stuck in the same situation you've always been. And I guess there are caveats to that. I'm willing to concede that, hard work can eventually get you a good job, even if your parents never had one, even if you're the first one in your family to go to college. Studying, having good habits is, in that situation, creating a system that allows you to be predictable. But I think that in my situation, being a creator means not having something that knows what I'm going to do. And for me to get rid of my ego and tells me what's comfortable, what's not comfortable, that's the only way you can really break free. So I don't know if that's called raising my entropy. In your Steph Curry example, he wants to lower his entropy by shooting a certain amount of jump shots a day so that he can understand this is the likely outcome for his practice. But I don't think that's being a creator. I'm not sure that's exactly what monks would say or what Tom Campbell would say about lowering your entropy. I'm not sure that fits with that. And I'm not saying that I'm correct either, because I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm just speaking from their words they're using. Is they're saying disorganization, dysfunction. If we're talking about a soul trap, from a soul trap standpoint, most of the talk lately about soul traps is that the archons or AIX or the simulation or whatever is in what's the other word they use? Anyway, whoever's running this place is going to put people who are out here, which some people use the term NPCs or hosts, but they're here to cause chaos, to cause us to have this dysfunction, disorganization, so that we discharge more energy, because that is how they are. I guess that's what they're saying. That's how they're fed. I'm not buying that necessarily, but that's how you expend more energy. So that would be, I guess, in that example, maybe that would be raising your entropy would be a bad thing, because you're causing yourself to raise your energy level, and your output would be a different level. So lowering your entropy could be spending less energy on those things. I don't know.
Yeah. So just going back. So just to finish this thought about being a conscious creator. So you want predictability, in my opinion, because you want to be able to think about what you want to create and actually create it. If you have high entropy, then it's randomness. So then you'll think of something and you may get it, may not get it. I shoot a shot, I may make it, may not make it, right? So that's a difference between disorder and there's, you don't want to be predictable on a certain level. I think you're talking about having free will and things of that nature, to where you're in control of your environment. But within that system, you want predictability, because you want to get the results that you intend. And if you have a high entropy, that becomes more difficult, because you're just going to get randomness. So in my opinion, you would want predictability. In my opinion, my life, I would want predictability. This world is based on predictability. If it was a high entropy world, odds are we wouldn't be able to have this podcast. There'll be so much randomness in everything. So you want things to be predictable. You want things to have a sense of order. And I think in your creation as well, you want things to be. Now, that gives you the power to create your own, because now what you think or what you intend, you're able to manifest, and you can predict that and you can create that. You don't want someone else to control your life. And you don't want to be predictable to some external circumstances. And that's where your kind of NPCs come in, because they're not consciously creating. They're predictable because they're just taking whatever input they get, and you can predict their output, and that way you can control them pretty much. So, but from an entropy standpoint, you would definitely, in my opinion, want to have as low entropy as possible if you want to have sustainable results. Otherwise, just be randomness, just be noise.
Okay, all right. Something we need to definitely ask Chad's opinion on, or have a guest on, and just again conversation. If you're just tuning in, stay tuned. We have a lot of things to talk about like this. This is just a short clip of some of the randomness we'll be talking about on the channel. Thanks for tuning in. Appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
Yep.